O nick do maior canal gringo de Fisiculturismo afirmou que o Ramon perdeu todas as poses para o Cbum. Ele assumiu que o Dino teve sim melhoras, mas que não eram suficientes para vencer o Cbum nesse Olímpia. Você já pensou em ter os seus galões em PET personalizados com a melhor qualidade, resistência e preços do mercado? A HydraFit é uma fabricante de galões que faz personalizações de acordo com as suas preferências. Com mais de 5 anos no mercado, eles atendem marcas gigantes de renome, galões de vários formatos e tamanhos, em forma de halteres, quadrado ou tradicional. Eles atendem para você que é personal, nutricionista, tem uma loja de suplementos e até se você tem uma grande marca ou está apenas começando. Mas atenção, a venda é exclusivamente no atacado, sendo o pedido mínimo de 30 unidades. Então, para você ter um desconto na hora de realizar sua compra, é só adicionar o cupom NOTICIASMAROMBA. O link para o site vai estar aqui na descrição. O Nick Sturgeon Power, o maior canal de fisiculturismo da gringa, já fez a sua análise sobre o confronto entre Ramon e Cbum, que rolou agora há pouco nos palcos do maior show de fisiculturismo do mundo. Muitas pessoas bem influentes já mudaram de ideia e garantiram que ao menos Ramon venceu algumas poses contra o Cbum e que o título esse ano está totalmente aberto até as finais. Porém, parece que o Nick não acha bem isso. Se liga só o que ele falou em um vídeo recente para o seu canal, nesse trecho que legendamos para vocês.
Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So the classic physique prejudging just wrapped up this morning. And honestly, it was kind of interesting because it looks like we might almost have the same results for the top 5 as last year. And if not exactly the same, pretty close to it. So in the first call out, you had the usual guys. You had Chris Bumstead, Ramon Dino, Terrence Ruffin, Urs Kausinski, Breon, and a new addition to that first call out this year, Michael the Bull, instead of Mike Sommerfeld, who was in there last year. Now, looking at the first call-out, I thought it was pretty clear that, again, it's going to be between Chris Bumstead and Ramon Dino. Those two guys really stood out right away. Obviously, Chris being the champion, but I think Ramon, again, stood out as the second-best guy here. But honestly, to me, even from this first call-out, I thought Chris was the clear winner. I think he clearly stood out. Even with the weight increase, these other guys coming in bigger, to me, Chris... He still looked like the biggest guy on stage by far. But we'll get to that towards the end when we talk about the top 2 call-out of just Chris and Ramon. So in this first call-out, first it was Cbum and Ramon that really stood out. I thought Urs Kausinski looked incredible here. And I think Urs is going to solidify his place potentially in the top 3 again. Now, to me, honestly, Terrence looked a little bit off again. And it looked like he could be battling for that third place spot, but to me, I thought Urs looked so incredible. I feel like Urs is going to be in the top 3. I mean, I think Urs really nailed it here. So let's get to your top 2 call out. Very reminiscent of last year. I felt like I was having deja vu watching this. Chris Bumstead and Ramon Dino. Now, the question is, did Ramon do enough to beat Chris this year? First of all, to me, Chris looks better than last year. His bicep isn't an issue, so his symmetry is a little bit better. He looked a little bit bigger than last year. Obviously, still really the biggest guy in the lineup. Conditioning was on point, of course. Really not surprised here. I think this is what we all expected to see from Chris. He brought a champion physique, very difficult to beat, and I think honestly, I think he's the clear winner here. No injury in sight, symmetry back, nailed his conditioning, and bigger than Ramon. Now, Ramon, to me, looked improved from last year as well. He looked a little bit bigger this year. He looked a little bit more comparable to Chris in terms of size. But the question here is, did he do enough to beat Chris? Did he close the gap enough to win? And I think the answer to that question is no. I think it is closer this year. I think Ramon, like I said, he looks better. He looks closer to Chris in terms of size. But Chris is just the consummate champion. Everything about Chris, to me, just every pose said that he's the winner of this show. But don't get me wrong, I think Ramon is the guy to push Chris. I think in this lineup right now, he is still the guy that's closest to Chris, and I think he's still the guy that's the most comparable. So I think this year he's pushing him even harder than last, and I think still of this lineup, when you're talking about Urs, when you're talking about Breon, when you're talking about Terrence, I think Ramon is the guy to do it. He is the best physique in this lineup besides Chris to push him. He's closer to his height. He's closer to his size. He's closer to his muscularity. I think that's why Ramon is going to be in this second place spot. So I think this is going to play out, like I said, very close to last year. I think Chris will be in first. I think Ramon will be in second. I really think Urs will be in third, but I think there's a chance Terrence could be there, but I'm going to say Urs. I'm going to say Terrence did enough to squeak into fourth, and then I'm going to say Breon in fifth. Overall, really impressed with these guys. I think the top three here really nailed it. Ramon, Urs, Cbum. They definitely did not disappoint their fans, but I still think Chris is far and away the champion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your predictions here? Did Ramon do enough to take it? Is Chris Bumstead going to lose the title this year? Or will he be picking up his fifth victory, even with this weight increase that allowed all his main competition a slight advantage? And if Chris does win, is this really slamming the door shut in their face that it doesn't matter what advantage they give you, I'm still the champ, and I'm very, very difficult to beat? Because that's the message that I think Chris was sending today, and I think that message will probably be delivered successfully.
Pois é, o Nick, diferente de boa parte dos gringos que mudaram de ideia, permanece com a tese de que o Cbum é imbatível e venceu o Ramon em praticamente todas as poses no palco, segundo ele. Mas qual a sua opinião sobre isso? Então, se você quiser assistir ao vivo com narração brasileira e não perder nenhum momento dessas finais, o link para ter acesso ao Mr. Olympia 2023 vai estar aqui na descrição. Deixa o seu comentário aqui embaixo, o vídeo vai ficando por aqui, um abraço a todos e até a próxima.